Hey, welcome back. This is part 2. Last week we had part 1. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. But here's part 2.
I have another kind of fun activity for you guys. To see. It's not a pop quiz. You're not being graded, but I just
Okay.
wanna know if you know what these words mean. They're from.
So it feels like a pop quiz. I'm just putting that
So
out there.
two are from. There's three. There's two from Hebrew and there's one from Greek.
Okay.
All right. So first we've got Adam. The very first. He's the OG. The very first guy
Yeah.
ever. Adam. His name has a meaning in Hebrew. It's a play on words. Actually, all three of these are play on words in the Bible that you miss when you read it in the English translation.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam,
Is it
any
separately-
ideas?
ADAM. So like it's a separate.
Well,
letter in
I'll
the
tell
middle?
you. I'll tell you the Hebrew word for it. It's Adama.
Adama.
Adama. I think I've got the pronunciation.
Emphasis, yeah.
Yeah, the emphasis right. I'll give you 5 seconds. We gotta keep this going.
Wait, are you talking like what it means?
Like, what does Adama mean? Because
Man.
Adam.
Oh?
No.
That's
Adam doesn't
awkward.
mean man.
I was so sure.
First person.
Sorry.
First person.
No.
Does it mean that guy?
So
Yeah.
Adama, which is what we derive Adam from,
Yeah.
it means dirt.
Oh,
From
yeah.
dust you were created.
Yes.
From dirt you were created, and to
thought about
dust, to
that.
dirt,
I
you
just didn't
you
say
will
it.
return.
His name means dirt.
Yeah. Okay, so you failed. I mean, no grades. You guys just didn't get the first one. Next, Isaac. We're sticking close in Genesis here.
Okay.
Isaac. Initially, this is not going to help you at all. Yitzhak. But rendered Isaac in English. It has a significance, and if you think about it, I'll give you a hint. It's named for an action. It means an action that Abram and Sarai did when God told them that they would have a kid.
What, laugh?
Laughter.
Laughter.
So when you read
I
it in English,
laugh.
you're like Isaac. All right. But when you read it in Hebrew, you're like, he's named Laughter, kind of calling back to
Yeah.
the fact that they laughed at the idea that they could have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, those are like little jokes in the Bible that you kind of miss. In the last one, so when Jesus is talking to Nicodemus
Mm-hmm.
and he's talking about, under the cover of night, and he says, how can I be saved? How can I receive this thing you're talking about? He says you have to be born what?
Born new.
Reborn, born again.
Born anothen. Okay? Anothen is the Greek word. It has two meanings. It means again, but it also means from above. So
Huh.
Nicodemus, he's confused. He's like, how can a man be born again through his mother's womb?
Mm-hmm.
He's already come out. And even in today's translations, we translate it again, born again, and we know what that means. We've kind of constructed this idea of what it means to be born again, even though it's
Mhm.
not physical. I mean, it's not physically possible. But
Yeah.
if you look at the other way, you're born from above, born from a heavenly origin,
Mm.
born from something that is not here. It's something that's not tangible on earth.
Huh.
So the origin from which you're born is not. It's not here. It's from above. It's from the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, tied in second Corinthians 5:17. The old has passed away. The
Oh,
new
I
has
thought you were
come.
trying to remember it. My fault.
No, I was saying if
Oh,
you guys knew.
my fault. Say that again.
The old has passed away. Behold, the old has passed away. The new has come. That's the second half of the verse. And yeah, like the old passed away. What we have here passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But what we are now, it's new. It's from above. It's fresh. It's from a different place.
Mm-hmm.
We're not citizens of earth. We're citizens of heaven.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's the last little tidbit I have for you on that. On
Honestly,
that topic there.
When it comes to like having a like more meaning to what the words are, and everything, going back to like Hebrew and like original Greek and Hebrew, like I definitely noticed for me when I have issues understanding something on the Bible, I tend to go back to Spanish because that's how I grew. Like
Yeah.
I grew up learning from this from the church and like from the Bible in Spanish my whole life. So I tend to go back when I have
Yeah.
doubts. I tend to go back to Spanish.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also I grew up speaking English, but I learned Spanish later in life. And I'll go to Spanish to see how they translate something.
Mm-hmm.
I love checking different translations, seeing how they say it, and going to another language. I think it helps because they don't have the same words
No.
exactly. They have different ways to express things. So a lot of the times it can be directly translated, but um, but yeah, most of the time it can provide some insight, and that's why it's super cool and super useful to learn another language.
Yeah.
I've also noticed that Spanish has a little bit more poetic way of having the Bible.
Yeah, there was a king. I think his name was William. I'm not sure maybe Edward. I don't know, English guy. But way back when he back in the day they spoke a lot of different languages just for different purposes. He has a quote. He says, "I speak Spanish to God, I think French to women, Italian for business, and German to my horse."
To his horse.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I may have misquoted that, but I know I got the Spanish, French, and German. Italian, I think.
Italian for business.
Italian. I don't know.
Italiano.
Yeah, but anyway, to the point of that quote is Spanish to God. Even back then, yeah, I agree. It has like a more flow, more. I mean, they're just so
Yeah.
more
It's
charismatic.
more
Dances.
emotional.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's more emotional.
Yeah, charismatic. Yeah.
Like when I want to explain something, like the way I talk to you guys is like concise and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Even like
is it though?
even-
I don't know.
like to a certain extent, because
Yeah.
like when you think about it, and that's why I like explain things with a bunch of words, is because the way I grew up like speaking Spanish is like there's more emotion
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
a lot more. Yeah, yeah. It's funny. There's like different things in Spanish just sounds normal.
Mhm.
Like every time I leave my girlfriend's house, que Dios te bendiga, que te vaya bien. Like I feel like you don't really say that every time. That means God bless you. Like go. Like I hope like that everything goes well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't say that. We just say, hey, drive safe,
Peace.
peace, bye. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like a more emotional, more involved language.
In Russian, they say "bustarova," I think.
Bus driver.
Bus
driver.
No,
Bus
off the bus. No, it means be fit, be healthy.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
are.
It's like
Yeah,
this
you know-
blessing that they send with you.
And I've noticed that like talking to my parents, talking to my family, my friends back in Guatemala, like when I really like speaking Spanish, like there's more emotion, there's more even cultural wise, Latin American culture or Hispanic culture is really warm and like really like invested into people and culture
Welcoming.
rather than that's why they say like Hispanic people are warm
Mm-hmm.
and fussy, we can call it, and then U.S. people are just like cold and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just a different experience, and same with the language because it was influenced a lot with the culture. Like the language tends to be a lot more warm in emotion and like more poetic.
Mm-hmm. I met some Germans in Kyrgyzstan last year, and they were telling me that it is really rude to waste someone's time, like to keep babbling
Mm.
on. So that's like the opposite of your Spanish,
Yeah.
where they're like, they'll say exactly
Dude,
what they
I'll
mean.
waste
and
your
that's
time
it.
all day long.
You do it on purpose, and it's so annoying.
Yeah, I mean German, if you think about it, think about the German culture.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very ordered, very
Fast paced.
fast paced, very exact. You know?
Yeah.
If you think like that's kind of I mean I guess the stereotypes associated with German culture, and then you go somewhere like
Latin America.
Latin America, but not necessarily Latin America entirely. There's actually research. It shows that more coastal, the closer you are to the coast, the slower the pace of life is. Follow with the pace of life, the slower your speech is. So if you go in Spain, for example, you go to the capital, they speak very properly, they speak very, very, very precisely, and it's relatively easy to understand. The capital is almost dead center in the middle of in the middle of the country. If you go to the south, they start slurring. They have what's called an Andalusian accent.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that region of Andalusia, which is on the south of Spain, and they talk more slurred. Pace of life is slower, and so there's a correlation. I don't know if the language influences the culture, or if the culture influences the language, or how the geography plays in as well.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere like Germany, you don't really have coasts. You don't really have that. So you're kind of I guess like land. It's not. I don't think it's landlocked, but maybe it is. Anyway, but yeah, somewhere that doesn't really have a coast. Those cultures tend to be more strict temporally relating to time, and their language reflects that. It's a lot more concise. It's more direct. Think about German. I went to Germany in 2018 with my family just to visit.
Nice. I went in 2019.
No way, we almost there at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm learning it on Duolingo, so I was practically there.
So they have this thing, and well, here one example first. They have a name for, I believe it's either the cup or the hammer that you use when you place a hard-boiled egg in to crack it and eat it. And it's just in German, they tend to do this a lot. They just combine words and call it a new word. And I don't know the exact translation, but say it's the cup. It would mean like egg holder cup for breaking and eating hard-boiled or something like that. And then they just toss it all, and it's this super long word, but you know exactly what they're talking about. So what I was referencing at first, though, I saw this like fire hydrant spout or something, and it had this super long name. I was like, what could that mean? I pull up Google Translate, take a picture. It does it for me, and it turns out it means like fire hydrant coming out of the wall or something like that. But like exactly what it was doing. Like it's so specific. It's so, and then you go to I don't know, like the like Punta Cana, and you know they're like, oh yeah, that thing out of the wall, like the fire hydrant over there.
They have like a
It's like the fire hydrant, but they had to add a few words to like everything's called a fire hydrant if it produces water for putting out fires. But like in Germany, they call it like exactly what it is. I don't know. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, now that I think about it, I don't think there's fire hydrants in Guatemala.
They just don't have fire. They haven't found it yet.
No, but like the fire truck carries the water, but like there's no like physical fire hydrants.
Well,
Fire
I think-
suppressant
I think-
liquid.
I think fire trucks here carry water as well, but not as much. I think.
Well, no, they don't. Oh, I guess they do carry a little bit.
Some of them
like
do.
a little bit,
Yeah.
but not like a lot.
But in Guatemala, it's just like the fire truck engine carries the.
So you just got to wait for the fire truck,
Yeah,
and you invited me to this country?
yeah. There's not that many fires.
All right. Well, back to what I was saying. I found the quote. It's I speak Spanish to God, Italian to women,
Yeah.
French to men, so French for business, I guess,
Yeah.
and German to my horse. You know. And so I don't know. I think that's a cool quote. It just kind of encapsulates like the different uses for language. You know, I know exactly in German when I'm talking about the fire hydrant that's in the wall on this street. I know exactly what I'm talking about. But when I'm talking to God, I can express myself more, I guess, more ambiguous, but
With more emotion.
Yeah. There's like a lot more room for emotion and for meaning to be implied.
Yeah. So back to the biblical languages.
Yeah.
Where are they on that spectrum?
In
Like
regard to
like Koine Greek. That
Koine.
Koine.
Yeah.
Good job.
All
Passed
good.
the test. So is that more of like a strict like this word means this word, or is it more of a fluid?
I don't
Because Hebrew the ancient Hebrew seems to be
Yeah,
more of that.
so I don't
poetic.
speak either, and I'm not fluent in either. But I would go to say that they're a lot closer to, kind of like a Latin based language, so like a Spanish, or maybe even like Italian or something like that. Now this is just from my Eurocentric language studies. But as far as I can say with like certainty, I would say it's a little bit. It's not as structured or as specific as German, and that's why there's a lot of. I mean, as we yesterday in study, we were debating in Judges a passage because it's ambiguous. The language is purposefully ambiguous. It doesn't tell you exactly what happened. So there's room for ambiguity, but there's also there's enough meaning that you know, at least 99% of the time, that what you're reading, you know what it can be translated to in your language, or you know what it's saying. It's not like the Bible's totally ambiguous and it could mean that, you know, we're saved by faith in Christ and, you know, faith in the work that he did on the cross, or it could be that I just have to work hard enough, you know. But I think the Bible, it gives enough clarity to what's important, and I think the languages lend to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think God would have chosen or even created a language that he would use for his word that would be so ambiguous, that it would
Hinder the understanding.
exactly, it would be
Yeah.
so ambiguous that it would cause for misunderstanding
Mm-hmm.
of the entire text, or so exact that it would provide for no interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we knew everything, we wouldn't need his word.
Yeah, and I feel like, because I'm going to add to your point, reading it in its original language, but then also learning kind of the phrases.
Yeah.
Like heavens and earth.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
know talking about in Genesis, God created the heavens and the earth. He's talking about everything,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when back then that phrase meant everything,
Yeah.
right?
Everything. I mean,
Um,
even today we don't really say it, but like, yeah. When I say the heavens and the earth, like, you can kind of guess that I'm saying like everything. Heavens, they're infinite levels of
Outside of Earth.
outside of Earth.
Yeah.
We have planets and systems,
Mhm.
solar systems, and galaxies, and
Mhm.
don't come
Like-
for me, space people. But that's all I know.
Yeah.
But like even in like the like the stratosphere and what is it, mesosphere or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, like it kind of combines heavens as everything that's
Not Earth, yeah.
unreachable, and then Earth is the place we call home.
Mhm. Another thing I learned when talking about phrases and languages in English, at least in the U.S., if we want to say, be exaggerating and say I walked really far, you'd be like, oh, I went all the way to Timbuktu. Right.
Yeah. Get
but
out of Dodge.
but
Shall I
all
call in?
other languages have different areas
Yeah.
that they like. That phrase isn't just a universal
Yeah.
language phrase.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, all right, so in Guatemala, if you were to say, do you have a similar?
Yeah, we like we would say Petén. Petén is like the top part of Guatemala. That for us, because of traffic and like roads, is like an 8-hour to 9-hour drive. So like it's like está por hasta Petén, but it's like, but it's more like, yeah, it's pretty similar,
Yeah.
but like we
It's that same
put-
idea.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess I'll move on. The last point that I want to make for this sub point of my first point
Mhm.
is that I think it's especially important for pastors, for teachers of the word. Even if you're I mean, if you're listening and you're like, I don't really want to spend that money, I don't want to spend it, I'm so busy I can't, that's fine. But I would encourage you to find a pastor that can or does read and refer to the original language, because it's so helpful in the exegesis of the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
Exegesis, I believe it's Greek. It's a word that means to draw out. It's to pull out, to pull the meaning out of, and then to present it. So your pastor hopefully is sitting at home and studying the word. He's pulling out of the word what he's going to preach on. And so if he can refer to the original Greek, he doesn't have to be a Greek scholar, but to refer to the original Greek and know, wait, this word has multiple meanings. I want to include this.
Mhm.
I think Justin Atwood the other week he preached and he referred to a Greek word, and I think, I mean, for me at least, whenever I hear or I see a pastor, a preacher, and he refers to Greek, I'm like, this guy's legit. He knows, and he's not playing around. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever he's saying, he's trying to do his best to present to you the word of God,
Mm-hmm.
not the word that he
Interprets.
interprets. I mean, there's an interpretation everywhere, but the word of God as best as he can understand it.
Mhm.
If he's going back to that original language, he's putting up definitions of Greek on screen. That guy, I would say 8 times out of 10 is legit.
Yeah.
Now use discretion, but yeah, I would say he's legit. He's trying to present to you something legit, something worth your time and something worth listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And if your pastor never references that, never references original Greek, maybe ask him, hey, why? I noticed you never really refer to the original Greek. It's always the ESV that you're using. Is there a reason for that? maybe just ask.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of like my last point on why is it important? Why the basis for my claim that everybody should read
Mm-hmm.
the Bible in the original text. Now, how do you do that? Because I don't have 40 weeks 40 hours a week for 40 weeks to learn biblical Hebrew and then read it casually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Maybe
I
Danny does.
Certainly
No,
don't.
I'm just kidding.
Certainly
Like
don't.
we're employed individuals. We have stuff to do. We have relationships to maintain, Bible studies to go to, podcasts to
Responsibilities
record.
outside.
Yeah, we have stuff to do. So I think I mean I've touched a little bit on it, but like this interlinear Bible, it's definitely something maybe worth investing in for you. Maybe not. There are, and we'll get to this, like digital options, but I think having it in paper for me, it's just like I don't know. It's like I love to be able to just what if the website's down? What if
Mhm.
the app
Phone dies.
like what if your phone dies? What if like what if your power went out and you can't? But having it in paper, having it right there, it's just for me it's more significant.
Mm-hmm.
For me it's
I would be interested to know to like do the research and like figure out if there's a audio version
yeah. I mean
of it.
audio, unless you are able to comprehend that. I don't know how valuable that would be.
Are you talking
but-
about like an audio reading of the
the Greek
word
and
for
the Hebrew?
word translation?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Or essentially like somebody just reading this and then recording the audio.
Like,
make
but
me
the
do it.
English in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I think the value is more in seeing the original translation, seeing the original words,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just just doing that. And so I've got a couple digital technology. I'm a tech guy.
Okay.
Couple digital things for you. So there's what I like a lot, and this is if I'm at Bible study or anything, someone's like, what does that mean? Like, why would they use that word? I don't know. So there's this app, it's called Accordance. I'm not going to try and spell it, but Accordance, you can look it up. They are, I think, the #1 biblical technologies company in the world, or biblical software or something like that. But they have an app. It's free to use, and I think they have the ESV translation for free, and you can maybe buy some other ones. But as far as I use it, it's free. Love free apps. And so what you can do is I mean, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but
You can take screenshots.
yeah. So it's just the Bible. It has a little bit of a complicated layout. It's not too bad. But what you need to do is you go to a word and you're like, what does that word mean? For example, I just highlighted companions. I press on companions in Judges. And what it does is it pulls up the Hebrew. It shows you the word and it shows you the Hebrew inscription, how it's written in Hebrew. And then it shows you the definitions with a bunch of links and links to other versions, English versions, to see how they translated it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so for example, it says I and my companions, but it could be I and me and my friends, or me and my companions. And this is using actually the same guy that made this curriculum, the William D. Mounts, that made the biblical Greek curriculum. He has contributed to a biblical Hebrew dictionary, which this is pulled from, and I think he might work with Accordance, but I'm not completely sure. So that's one Accordance app. It's great. Just for referencing quick words. You don't have to even try and find the Greek. You just go to the English word and you tap on it. Not all of them, if it's is, it, this, that, whatever, doesn't have it. It's
Because
more,
they don't
exact-
exist in that.
They don't exist, or maybe they're not as important. It's just a verb. It doesn't have necessarily that many different meanings. Is always is
Mhm.
most of the time. So what if I want to check out the original Hebrew? In Judges we were reading it. In English we have this word it. Doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of this neuter subject pronoun. It kind of just, it's non-gendered. It's a third person singular. It means something. It. In Spanish you don't have that. In Spanish you have he or she. You have to put a gender to it.
Yeah.
Or you have direct object pronouns. Lo and la, they have to have a gender. You can't just, you can just use the masculine as an ungendered, but it has to have a gender. And so we were debating it because it was talking about someone walking out of Jephthah's door.
Mhm. This is
And
Judges 9, right?
Judges 9.
Yeah.
No, Judges 11.
Oh,
Judges
11. Oh.
So it's talking about whatever walks out of my door, I will sacrifice it. And the it is a third person masculine conjugation, third person singular masculine conjugation of the verb to be. But Jephthah only had a daughter, and so no spoilers, but it ends up being a little confusing because he has a wife presumably and a daughter that live with him. So what is he expecting that would be a masculine thing, maybe a pet, maybe a male servant to walk out of the door? But yeah, it kind of lends to that ambiguity that we were talking about earlier, and it can be a little bit confusing. But how did I figure out what conjugation, what gender or number the verb had? Online, there's a website. It's called Bible Hub. You can just look up a verse, any verse. You can even look up passages. I don't know if they do this for the passage, but you look up a verse, and I think somewhere on the screen it just says Hebrew. You just press on the Hebrew button. It pulls up the Hebrew. It's almost like the interlinear Bible, but it's verse by verse. And it's actually a little bit better because it does the searching for you, and it says it. This is a verb. It's conjugated in this sense in the third person masculine tense, or well, the present tense, but the third person masculine singular conjugation. So that's how I found it. I'm no Hebrew scholar, but it took me a Google search and I was able to find that. There's also, like I mentioned earlier, dictionaries for Koine Greek and Hebrew online or in paper. If you want, like I was saying, you could learn Greek. There's a website. This guy Stan Kondrat, he's a Greek scholar, and he teaches courses. But there's also PDF downloads of textbooks and that you can like kind of self-teach, textbook, workbook, answer keys and everything. It's really, really affordable. It's actually cheaper than this Bible itself, and that's GreekForAll.com. And they also have a Greek word of the day. So they send you a Greek word every day of the week, not the weekends, Sabbath. And so they'll send you a Greek word and they'll tell you how many times it's used in the Bible, and they'll tell you what it means, and they'll give you a sample verse with that word in it. And so that's a really cool way to just get exposure to the new word every day. You don't really have to try that hard to learn. And another fun fact, there's only, I believe, about 500 unique Greek words in the New Testament. It's not that many, guys. 500 words, individual, unique words. Now, there are conjugations of verbs and everything, but maybe plurals and singular form of different nouns, but it's not that much. 500 words, it's not. The grammar, it'll get to you. But yeah, you could memorize the entire vocabulary in a year. It's not that unattainable. And especially if you're learning one word a day, add that on top of 10 flashcards a day. If you really practice that, you could learn the vocabulary, and then you don't have to necessarily know the grammar because you're not producing Greek. You don't need to know how it works. You can sort of attain that through reading. You can see, okay, that's that, and then you're like, oh wait, that's the verb conjugation for this, because it looks kind of like this word, but it's not exactly that word. And so yeah, that's a really, it's attainable goal, but it's also not for everybody. But yeah, I those are kind of like the resources that I wanted to present today on on if you want to learn Greek, if it's something that you feel like that would be super cool, and I have 30 minutes a day to dedicate. Not Duolingo, not quite, but it's still it's an attainable goal, and New Year's coming up soon.
Yeah. Honestly, learning languages, I've slowly started dabbling more into learning languages, especially growing up with two languages at the same time.
Yeah.
That definitely has played a factor into me wanting to learn more languages. But part of it is just being able to understand different cultures at its core.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a different aspect between going and like speaking, translating, and like just speaking English in different places, but also
100%.
being able to experience the culture on its own with their own language, because that's like the most deep that you can dive into a culture.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that's all I've really got for that, at least that one point.
And that's just your first point.
That's just the first one, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
More coming soon.
More coming soon.
More episodes.
We're gonna wrap it here. But we're gonna have at least another episode because you've got
At least one or two.
Yeah,
I've got two
two
more points written down. A lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
And a little teaser, it's going to be about different languages, not just Hebrew and Greek. We'll get into, if you guys speak other languages, we'll talk about your language,
Heyo.
most likely. And we'll talk about languages you've never heard of.
Huh.
Right on.
Right on.
Are we gonna have any more pop quizzes? Well, they're not pop quizzes
Well-
if you tell us.
Guys, the pop quiz is at the beginning of this episode, and it kind of carries over to the next episode.
Okay. I got it.
So,
Huh.
Well, I tell you what. We'll see you guys next time.
Yes.
And he's gonna be back, and it's gonna be great. So thanks for
Mhm.
tuning in. And get ready for next episode.
yeah.
See you guys.
I
Peace.
feel like we don't really have that many more fun facts to talk about. Do you have more
we-
fun facts?
Do I have more fun
Well, you
facts?
end every video with a fun fact.
Well, not anymore. I know. All right, we'll end this
We'll
one
end
with a
this,
fun
okay.
fact. All right,
Well, I think you should point to the what corner is it again?
to the left corner. Okay, here's what I found out. So
Uh-huh.
that screen that we have,
Yeah.
it
Only lasts like 20 seconds.
so for
you can
on,
make it last longer though.
no, but on YouTube, you know how it puts up like,
The
all right,
video
watch,
suggestions.
watch,
Yeah.
That it only goes to 20 seconds. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So if you watch like the first 10, 15 of our videos, we have the left corner and it goes on for like 5 minutes and there's no video suggestions.
yeah,
there.
it just is like.
And
a
then the
blank.
last
Okay.
20 seconds. Yeah. So that's
So
why
we're
we're
not
not
doing
doing
that
the-
anymore?
Yeah. But we can still do a fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
You ready? I'm about to pull this out of thin air. I'm going to think of it on the spot, thinking of languages. Okay. Fun fact. I hope I haven't shared this yet. So you know how in English we have a word specifically for red and for pink?
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
They're very close. Pink could be considered
The colors.
like red. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the colors. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in Russian, they have two different words for blue. One is specifically light blue, and one is specifically dark blue.
Wow.
So light blue, if I'm not mistaken, is goluboy, and dark blue is sini. So that's sini, and
We don't really have light.
oh, and the
Oh,
this is
Kazakh flag.
goluboy.
On Spanish, we also have 2 words.
No, you don't.
No, yeah, we do.
Don't stop lying. to
No,
me.
no, no. Actually,
Anyway, thanks for
No.
watching,
Thanks
guys.
for watching.
I'm just kidding.
Do your
And
own
if
research.
if I got that wrong, my fault. I don't speak.
Feel
Russian
free to
that
comment what it is.
well. Yeah, tell me.
Honestly,
or just
comment blue in your language if you watched this far in the video.
or all the blues.
Oh,
All of them.
Yeah.
facts.
Peace.
All right. Cool. We'll see you.
Que Dios te bendiga.
Que Dios te bendiga. Let's go.
Paka.